Hi everyone, Dobry din. This is Catherine Hyvarnen, company owner of Hyvarnen Language Training, also known as HLT. Greetings to you all from my company here in Switzerland. This video will be focusing on Moscow's contrasts. We see the old and new in many forms. Take language, for example. In 2008, English was nowhere to be seen, and if you didn't know Russian, you had it. Nowadays, and especially with the arrival of the World Cup this summer, many street signs in the city centre are now in English, and using the metro has also become much easier due to announcements being given not only in Russian, but also in English. At certain metro stations, you can even buy tickets from personnel who speak English. There are signs on the window booths saying, "We speak English here," and I like to test their English language skills, and I see that there is progress in terms of language development. You can also buy metro tickets from vending machines by selecting the language of your choice. Being a tourist these days in Moscow is much easier in comparison to what I experienced back in the day. As regards Moscow's metro, cards like this were sold to commuters in the past. They had pictures of different metro stations, and these cards were solely used for traveling by metro. Now they have been replaced with this reusable top-up Troika card, which is a unified card allowing you to travel on all means of public transport in Moscow: the metro, trams, trolleybuses, and monorail. For this card, I pay around $27 for 60 rides, which I find is rather reasonable. The Aeroexpress, which is an express train going from the city center to Moscow's airports and back, has now been modernized with the arrival of the double-decker state-of-the-art trains. Distances are long, and if we take, for example, Domodedovo Airport, it's a 45-minute train ride to the city center. A return ticket costs around $12, which is a real bargain. When I'm traveling on Moscow's metro, I like to observe commuters. I often end up in wagons where each generation represents a specific time in Russia's history. At first, I could be standing next to a tired-looking war veteran whose eyes display emotions of struggle, pain, and sadness. A few minutes later, a young student could suddenly get on at the next metro station, looking totally bored out of his mind, and the only way for him to pass time is to take out the latest model of his iPhone, listen to music, and scroll through Instagram. There is a stark contrast now between Russia's past and present in terms of mentality and opinions. It seems to me that Russia is now at a crossroad, giving rise, in my opinion, to an unclear understanding of the country's future. In 2008, the first thing that struck me in Moscow's metro was the number of books and newspapers being read. It looked to me like a nation of readers. I remember times when I was waiting several minutes to get onto escalators during the rush hour, and there would always be commuters in front of me, calmly reading and indulging in their newspapers and books. However, since that time, technology has taken over at an extraordinary speed, and e-readers, smartphones, have become the books and newspapers of today. In 2014, not only did Moscow's entire metro system get equipped with free wireless internet, but Moscow also introduced the idea of a so-called virtual library. The concept gives you the opportunity to download via your smartphone, tablet, a code in certain metro stations, which then gives you access to a wide selection of Russian classical literature. For example, the works of Chekhov, Pushkin, Tolstoy, and Dostoevsky. I personally think it's a very positive initiative, giving commuters the chance and privilege to download such great classics for free. Plus, I find the concept to be a very smart educational move. What I find fascinating in my work is that I have students of different age groups. When it comes to group lessons, I sometimes feel that my students have grown up in different countries. From an international relations point of view, I find it fascinating to analyze a country that has been forced to go through so many transitional phases within her own history. I have many students who were brought up during the Soviet era, and then there are the millennials who have been growing up in completely different times. Sometimes we can end up having heated debates in my classes because both clans can't reach a compromise. And this then makes me think of business models in the country, in international and Russian firms. If we look at Russian top management, most belong to the group with a Soviet upbringing, and employees being hired belong to the group of millennials. That's where certain questions start to arise. How good is the communication level within the firm? How well does top management understand the way of thinking of millennials and vice versa? How easy is it to see eye to eye in various situations when one group has been raised in a stricter, harsher, more disciplined and serious environment, and the other, in calmer times, being more open-minded and developing a more outgoing approach to life? And what about families where, for example, 3 generations can be living under the same roof? At times, it must be challenging to be on the same wavelength when entering discussions. The past and present are very much interlinked in Russia in so many ways, and from a foreign perspective, I find these contrasts really interesting to analyze. However, it remains to be seen how the young and old will, in future, be able to find common ground in this fast-paced life. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you have any comments, please post them down below. Don't forget to continue sharing my videos and subscribing to my channel. Thank you, and I'll see you again soon. До свидания. Bye-bye.